Awake? We just need you to hang in there for 15 minutes. I'm only going to speak to you for 5 minutes. But I'm actually going to take a pause and a few minutes to really just share some thoughts around our 20 years, since a lot of today has been, again, bringing content and knowledge and practitioners' perspectives. I thought I would just take some time to reflect on Dasra. Where's our 20 years? Thank you. Is it not bigger? Okay. So I imagined that 20 was going to be a lot bigger and potentially overpower me. But let me get started. So there's a couple of themes I want you, hi everyone up there. I wanted you to keep a few things in mind while I share some of my thoughts, just to keep you intrigued and not completely bored. A couple of words. Yes, ready? China, platinum, 52,000, and 24. Okay, yes? China, platinum, 52,000, and 24. So I don't know how many of you know, but Dasra is a Sanskrit word which means enlightened giving. And I don't know how many of you know how Deval and I came up with this name. And funny enough, my sister's here, and her daughter's here, and we were at their house when Arya was born, and she had a Maneka Gandhi naming of children's books, and we just flipped through it and came up with this name, Dasra, that means enlightened giving. So we got it from this naming children's book, in case that ends up being a quiz. But that's the origins of our name. So the secret to the number 24 is we started Dasra at the age of 24. To be very frank, Deval started Dasra at the age of 24. And we started with Deval's savings of $24,000 and my ginormous debt of over $100,000 to Harvard. So the magic around the 24 is that. But really, in all honesty, when we started Dasra 20 years ago, we started with a very simple idea, because we didn't feel we really had much to offer, that if we could provide some of our skills and support to an NGO, then maybe they would benefit from that, and they would grow and they would scale. And then very quickly we realized we could give all the advice we wanted, and I could sit all I wanted and build financial models with Safina and others. But if we didn't have the flexible funding that Deval spoke about, we really wouldn't be able to help these organizations achieve scale and impact. And so really at the core of Dasra is building NGOs and supporting them in their scale, and on the other side working with philanthropists to educate them on how their giving can be more strategic. So because we started with this $24,000, we didn't have a whole lot of money, we then came up with this idea called the Dasra Giving Circle, and I know a lot of you have been part of this, and that gave us the flexibility to really be able to gear up these organizations with the kind of funding that they really needed. And so we started working with NGOs through our research process, identifying them, doing the giving circles, working with them in our capacity building. And then over the last 20 years, when we took a bit of a pause, we thought, okay, great, so you build this scale with an organization, but how are we really going to move the needle on the sectors and the fields? And that's when we decided to just take a step back and a big step forward and say we're going to place outcomes at the forefront. And we're going to build a field around this, and we're going to have a field approach to building outcomes. And throughout the day, you've heard about the importance of outcomes, our field approach when Anand spoke about through the India Philanthropy Report. But as we build our own ability to be effective around this field approach and achieving outcomes, we realized, you know what, we also need new capabilities and a new way of working. And some of that has emerged throughout this Dasra Philanthropy Week. In Delhi, when we did the 10 to 19 Adolescent Collaborative Forum, we launched our baseline, which was really getting a snapshot of Jharkhand for the first time that Dasra had done this kind of evaluation, going to over 42,000 households and interviewing 15,000 girls and boys. We've had a new set of capabilities as we build and see a community of practice as being core to the field approach. Many of you are part of a particular field, and we're saying, let's bring you all together into a platform so that you have collective voice for advocacy, you can share best practices, and funders can also emerge into this platform to understand and learn. And through the community of practice in the 10 to 19 collaborative, we've worked with 73 organizations and launched the Backlash Report. We're also now creating a pillar around changing the narrative. So we can talk all we want and we can do all we want, but there's a discourse and a narrative that exists out there in people's mindsets and in the media. And a lot of us actually need to work towards changing that, because if you actually change the mindset and the narrative out there, we'll really begin to see that needle moving. So, back to the numbers and those themes, China and platinum. So when I was sitting down to think about, oh, I wonder what I should say since it's 20 years, I went onto the internet and I started searching 20 years, and wedding anniversary came up. It's not our 20-year wedding anniversary. It's less than that, but we won't go there. So 20 years, if you look at the wedding anniversary, the two things that come up are China as the traditional gift and platinum as the modern gift. And so I took a step back and said, you know, we used to call ourselves catalysts for social change, and that's kind of like China, not the country, but China as in porcelain. A little fragile, you need it, it begins to grow with a set of dishes, and it can break easily. And I think we started there, but I think we've become more now towards really collaborative action, and I really want to believe that this is like platinum, really strong, a really precious metal. And that it really takes all of us to come together to make this metal really strong. And that's why some of what we've announced today are a lot of the partnerships we're excited about, because we can't do this alone. We need each and every one of you. We need funders, we need the nonprofits, but we also need an emerging group around this ecosystem to come together, and we're not going to build these capabilities ourselves. So it's been 20 years. It's been 52,000 hours. So now you know, China, platinum, 52,000 hours. We started when we were 24 with $24,000. But there's more numbers. We've had 350 Dasraites across the world that have come through Dasra and become alumni of Dasra and influenced this sector all over. We've had 7 addresses, countless memories, lots of sweat and tears. Whew. And impacting 1 million lives. So I want to thank you all for today. We continue. We are still in the midst of Dasra Philanthropy Week. We started with Jharkhand visits that many of you went to see organizations we support. We had a 10 to 19 Dasra Adolescent Collaborative Forum. We had the Dasra Social Impact Leadership Program graduate. Today we're kicking off the Dasra Philanthropy Forum Day 1. Tomorrow we have Day 2. And a few of us have a global board meeting on Sunday. So the week continues. Thank you for coming today. I want to call out a very special thank you to the Royal Opera House and the WIP team and the Dasra team, because my crazy idea of moving to this venue, I think, drove them absolutely mad. But I hope you enjoyed the fact that we're in this rich heritage, and I hope you enjoyed the day today. I will now hand over to Krishnan. Thank you.